The Return of the Martians by Mark Hood. Read by the author. Chapter 1. Woking. The nightmares became more frequent as Mars moved into opposition. My terror regularly awoke my wife, and she in turn roused me from dreams in which I found myself buried alive, or forced to murder my fellow men to ensure my escape from terrors lurking in the shadows. I knew well what those unseen threats represented. 2 years had passed since the terrible events of the Martian invasion, and those creatures still haunted my dreams. "Will you write today?" Amy asked, almost casually, over our morning toast. I grunted in reply, unwilling to commit to a proper answer. "You've written nothing in some time, and I know your publisher wrote to you yesterday. How's it coming along?" "It isn't, as you well know," I snapped, and instantly regretted it. A pause extended painfully as she poured me another cup of tea. "I simply cannot concentrate at present. We're not ready for when they come back, and against that knowledge it's hard to summon any reason to write." "It's also hard to summon the next month's rent," she said, shaking the empty biscuit tin. "If the words for the book will not come, perhaps another article. You had that idea about a retrospective on the time, since the incidents, and what we as a society had learned. Perhaps it's time to work on that." I chewed my toast as I considered her idea, watching the squirrels in the garden gathering nuts against the coming winter. But we've learned dashed little as far as I can see. It is remarkable how quickly men's minds turned back to mundane matters. Within a few months after the death of the Martian invaders, barely a man on the street showed any sign of concern at the possibility of their return. I would be remiss if I gave the impression that all men were unperturbed. Those of us who saw the Martians firsthand or lost loved ones to their attacks are all too aware of the danger the Red Planet holds. And there are some who expect them to return any day now, and agitate for more defences, myself among them. "Perhaps another letter to the Times," I mused. Amy's voice echoed from the pantry. "They didn't see fit to print your last 3. A clattering and banging erupted from the small room, and at the sound of her cry of pain I leapt to her aid. I found her sat upon the floor, tins of peaches scattered around her. "This dashed stockpile of yours," she grumbled, "will be the death of me." I helped her up and began to restack the tins more carefully. "You'll be glad of it when the Martians return," I reminded her. Amy scoffed and rubbed the blossoming bruise on her elbow. "To hell with the Martians, and the devil take your tinned goods. It's not enough I lose my rose bushes to a vegetable plot, but now you risk our home over this obsession?" To do nothing is the greater risk, and that is all I see happening around me. We lie unprepared, unguarded, and defenceless. What little faith you have! Do you not trust the government to have its citizens' best interests at heart? Recall the replies to your letters when the Times still printed them. "Every measure is being explored," they said. "And yet they present no evidence of their preparations," I protested. "The man in the street does not know what to do when the invasion comes, and indeed they're all but encouraged not to think of it. The machine that once towered over Primrose Hill has gone for scrap. The Martian, kept preserved under spirits in the Natural History Museum, is consigned to a basement, and so the last visible reminders of our peril are gone from our sight. I often wonder whether they did this for economic reasons, or because such a reminder of our inferiority was embarrassing for those in charge. There are even those who no longer truly believe the event occurred. Outside the areas of Surrey and London where the fighting machine strode, the tale has frequently been viewed as exaggeration, if not outright fabrication." Amy left the pantry and returned to the breakfast table. "They do not wish to spread panic unnecessarily. But if you truly believe nothing is being done, then why not visit Frederick in London? You told me he was involved in our preparations for any potential return. Perhaps speaking with him again will help ease your mind. When you see how things are being planned for, it might allow you to turn your mind away from it all." It is true that my brother had become involved in our contingency planning. He'd been a junior administrator before the first invasion, but earned promotion by virtue of his experiences during that time and his acumen for planning. In fact, he'd been so busy during the first months in his new position that we'd quite fallen out of touch, my letters going unanswered except for the occasional telegram informing me he was quite well and extremely busy. How long had it been since we last spoke face to face? Almost a year, I fancied. "He'll be too busy to see me," I said. "Well, which is it, that the government does nothing or that they're rushed off their feet? I'm sure he'll make time for a luncheon with his brother, even without an appointment. Go, it'll do you good to be out of the house for a while. Just promise me you won't abandon your writing for a new life in government planning, should he ask you." As we bickered, We did not know that my worst fears would soon come to fruition.